hard.
Like
Okay.
I gave them 5 questions and they didn't reply on any
Hmm.
of those questions, but they sent me an email like that.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, fine.
Answering other questions.
No, they were like, oh, we are super
Mm.
happy that you are
Mhm.
like thinking about to have a like our venue and da, 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 da.
Mhm.
Okay, but back to the questions.
Mhm, 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 mhm. I see.
Okay, I think we can start. Hello, everyone. Are you ready for the next talk? It's a pleasure to welcome Laupe Biget here,
Yes.
my chess teacher, and he's also the founder of Karna. And the talk is Token First is Dead. Now, what?
So hi everyone. I'm very excited to be here with you. And today we're going to talk about airdrops, how they've miserably failed for the past 2 years, and what is the step forward and the best practices if you want to grow a DeFi app or a on-chain protocol sustainably. So my name is Leopold. I'm the founder of Curna. We're an on-chain brand studio. Previously, I was a marketing lead at DeFi protocol on Ethereum. And I actually started as a crypto YouTuber back in 2021, and I had 50,000 subscribers. And I also do some angel investing in on-chain startups. So 89% of airdrops don't work. I'm sure you've all experienced that before. Maybe you've received airdrop, maybe you've bought tokens that just did an airdrop. And for 9 airdrops out of 10, the price 90 days after the airdrop was actually lower than on TGE. And these are figures for 2024. I'm sure you know a lot of examples. You have ZK Sync, you have Starknet, Blast, Barachain. Basically, all these projects are doing between minus 90% and minus 99% today since they did their token generation event. A few airdrop stats. So in 2024, $19 billion worth of tokens were airdropped. Only $4.5 billion in 2025. And I assume that in 2026, less than $1 billion will be airdropped. 64% of recipients sell at token generation events. So 2 out of 3 users are selling their token on the day the token is generated. And as I previously said, 89% have a lower price 90 days after. So I was part of the marketing team of Bravos, which is one of the popular wallets on Starknet. So I experienced the whole Starknet airdrop phase, pre-airdrop, during the whole growth phase of Starknet, during the airdrop and after the airdrop. And so airdrop day, this is the day where the largest amount of users were connected to Starknet and active, so 380,000 accounts. A month later, only 15% of these users stayed active. 2 months later, only 10%, and 6 months later, only 1% of the users were still actively doing transactions on Starknet. And actually, that's kind of funny because so you have 5,000 users after the airdrop. There is some kind of bugs, I'd say, on the end. But what is funny is there were 5,000 active users at the beginning before Starknet talked about an airdrop. And then it became crazy, and there was hundreds of thousands of users. And when all the tokens were airdropped and this things was more quiet, there were still 5,000 users. So you can see that all the airdrop and all the money that was spent had no effect on creating long-term usage for Starknet. And for all these other protocols, I'm not going into details with all the other ones that I've cited, like Blast, Barachain, ZK-Sync. These are the same numbers. ZK-Sync has 4,000 users on average, Barachain is 6,000. They're all around this 4,000 to 6,000 users right now. And it's approximately the same as before all this airdrop thing. And a bit more data on Starknet. So the token was at a 2 billion market cap when it's airdropped. Now it's sitting at around 200 million. And I'm not even talking about the token price. The token price did minus 99% because the inflation is super high on this token. And all the other tokens, you need to pay VCs, you need to pay influencers, you need to pay all the people who participated in this project and who invested. So there is huge inflation and the price is just going down. In terms of TVL, it started at 400 million and it's now at 200 million, so a 50% decrease. Um, so what was the strategy behind the StarkNet airdrop? It was a highly dev-focused airdrop. Like, for example, I received as a power user $1,600. I mean, I'm happy with that, but compared to like the devs who received up to $360,000, like it was highly skewed towards dev. They had a low float, high FDV token, so they raised $225 million. So the investors, they wanted some of their money back. So obviously, like huge inflation and a lot of sell pressure for that token. One very important thing also to remember is that to be eligible for the airdrop, you didn't require any skill. So it means that most of the people were taking that as a job or as a task that they needed to do, and they didn't like build some sort of emotional connection or they didn't feel that much part of the protocol, I'd say, and they would just like cash in their money and go out. Obviously, there was no product market fit, even if the Stark is the end game kind of thing, was thought to be something, but in the end, like there was no clear product market fit for StarkNet. There was no social recognition built into the strategy, and actually a bit the contrary, because one of the key members of StarkNet actually said about these airdrop hunters that they were e-beggars, so you didn't really feel recognized at all being part of this community. This is also an important point to remember. And a weak brand. Like I was super surprised, but like they used this Stark wolves that was based on Game of Thrones, or they were doing like Dragon Ball Z aesthetics. Like this is not a good way to build a brand. You cannot piggyback on like another concept to build like a solid brand. You need to build your own universe. So for me, that was kind of like a sort of recipe for a disaster. And I will compare that to one of the only very highly successful airdrops, which is the Hyperliquid airdrop. Right now, there is, for the past year, there is around 60 to 80,000 active users daily. So it's a healthy usage, healthy protocol. And in terms of metrics, TVL is around 6 billion. Market cap for the token is around 16 billion. And same, it's growing. And they actually have a burning mechanism to decrease the inflation on the token. So even if it's right now the same market cap as 6 months ago, the token price is actually higher. So there is a lot of buy pressure for this token. So in terms of strategy, they had a fair launch, meaning that they had no VCs, and they allocated 31% of the tokens to their users. I know that like it's a really great thing to do, but not every protocol can do that. Jeff, the founder, has put, I think, something around $10 million from his own pocket to build his protocol. So not every founder has $10 million to inject in his project, obviously. But this is, if you do it this way, like I think you increase your chances of success. And important also, you needed skill to receive the airdrop. So it was a skill-based points program. And if you did wash trading, you were trying to farm the airdrop, you could be penalized up to 98%. Even if you did a lot of transactions, a lot of volume, if Hyperliquid saw that you were doing this as a farmer, you could lose 98% of your airdrop. So, and the people who were the most rewarded were the people who basically mastered the protocol and did complex trades and were really power users of the protocol. Obviously, they had product market fits and clear value proposition, and they had a clear brand. They built their own universe with their own colors, their own concept, and that was in their favor, and it made them a powerful brand. And I want to talk also about Base. Who of you are using Base in this room? Yeah, 4 or 5 people? Okay, so I'm a heavy Base user personally. And I really like that they have no native token, they have no point system, and they have been very clear at the beginning that they didn't plan any token. So me personally, I'm using Base because I put my assets on Morpho because I want the best risk rewards, and I feel that's where it is, on Morpho, on Base. So I'm not putting my assets on Base to farm a token or because I want incentives. No, I just genuinely want to use that blockchain, to use a protocol that I like, that has the best risk reward. So, and I'm actually like quite like not anxious but worried about their new strategy, because now they're kind of talking about a token. I'm like, personally, if they do a token, I'm like, I have this feeling that okay, maybe now it's time to move to another chain because I got everything out of that chain, or I would just not do anything because I still like it and it would not change anything. So I'm like, quite. Personally, I don't think it's a good strategy for them to launch a token at this stage. They already have like 6 billion worth of TVL, far above Arbitrum, which has I think something like 2 billion. So I don't really know. I don't think it will bring any growth to their protocol to airdrop tokens. I think personally will either have no effect, or people will just jump to another chain because they think they've milked everything from base. So in my opinion, that's not a good strategy. So why are airdrops not working? I'm going to talk a little bit about psychology here and about the over-justification effect. And that's the fact that if people enjoy doing something and then you pay them for doing that, it removes their motivation to keep doing this thing. And this theory is not from me, it's from a few guys. Two of them are called Deci and Ryans, and they've created the self-determination theory, the SDT. And they talk about intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. And so I guess you know what it is. Like, extrinsic motivation is when it's something external that pushes you to do something, and intrinsic motivation is like internally you want to do something and you choose to do this. And intrinsic motivation comes when you have three things: autonomy. So for example, users do choose to do something not because they want, like, they have incentives and they're pushed for an airdrop. No, they just do it because they like it, they want to do it by themselves. Competence, like if you use something and you become a master at it by using it multiple times, it creates intrinsic motivation. And relatedness, if you feel that other people are doing this and you build a community around that, this brings intrinsic motivation. And actually a very good way, I think, in DeFi and in on-chain products in general is to do offline events to bring a community together, and it's not to just airdrop them tokens. That's not how you build a solid community. And another guy called Bruno Frey, he has another theory, which is the motivation crowding theory. And he says a bit similar things, that extrinsic reward to an activity that people already enjoyed will destroy their intrinsic motivation. And on the contrary, if you give them a badge that highlights their genuine expertise, this will strengthen their motivation and keep them doing what they're doing. And I want to give a simple example. I think it's a way to really show what intrinsic motivation is versus extrinsic. So here is a picture of guys who are washing a beach. This is like a real picture from real guys from 2 years ago. And let's say you have two options on how to bring these people. Option one is you say that you're volunteer for the local community, and that was the case. So people are happy, they feel like proud of themselves, they feel that they helped this island, and they're happy. And this is like pure intrinsic motivation. Now imagine that on the contrary, you said, hey guys, you're going to be paid $10 per hour to do this. Imagine the different crowds. Like for me, this is a completely different crowd of people that you're going to get here. And they will do it once, and they will never want to do it again if they're not paid. So yeah, I think that's a very good example to illustrate this airdrop thing and how it motivates or not people. And that's a very personal example. So it's not a very well-known protocol. It's called Sysmo. Has any of you heard about this before? Okay. So Sysmo, they invented ZK badges. So they were one of the first protocols to build on ZK, but for privacy, not for speed and execution, but for privacy. And like they had badges, and it was really a status symbol. And unfortunately, I was a little bit late following this protocol, but I remember I really wanted to have this Ethereum Power User badge, because for me it meant that I would be this OG guy who was the first to encounter this protocol, to interact with it, and for me it was kind of a status symbol. And I felt like I had another badge, and I felt really proud being part of this project and community. And they didn't plan any airdrop, they had no points, nothing. And I also really fell in love with the care that they put in their brand. Like all these little characters, they were called Zikis. And I just fell in love with their universe, and I felt really attracted and yeah, really part of their mission and really aligned. So actually, at that time, I had my YouTube channel. I did a free video for them, and I just wanted to, push the word out because I just genuinely loved their innovation and the care that they've put in their brand. So at what? Oh, yeah, 15 minutes. Good. So what's next? What are now, since we've learned like what has not worked, StarkNet, layer 2s, other typical airdrops, and what has worked, projects like Hyperliquid, what can we learn from that? So to avoid at all costs, and something that is not working is money as a primary hook, as we've seen. Like if you only bring people because they are going to earn money, the day you stop giving them this money, they will not use your protocol anymore, and this is not the type of people you want to attract. The second thing is rewarding before product market fit, because I like to think about airdrops as like you have a gun and you have just one bullet. And if you fire it too early, then you have nothing to defend against the competition. So you really need to think carefully about when you, fire the gun, and it's way before to reward after product market fits, because you start to have real users and not inflated numbers by people who just want to earn money on your protocol. Earning points that doesn't require your skills, it's the same. It's like if you're not skilled, if you don't need skill to earn points, it's like a video game. You don't feel like, you feel it's a job. It's just a menial task, and you're here for the money. And yeah, you should not do that. No way to show status and progression. I like to think about, I know, are there any League of Legends players in the room or people who played this game in the past? Yeah. So I guess you know the like gold, silver, bronze, platinum. Like personally, I never reached gold. I was only like silver, but I was still proud. And this is the kind of thing that you want to show in your project, is like a way to showcase social recognition among your community. And I think yeah, that's something that doesn't cost you anything, and that people, if you state it clearly that it's just like for community purposes and you don't plan to launch a token, this is a powerful way to keep people in. Low float, high FDV tokens, of course, like if you do that, there is a lot of sell pressure, which just creates a downward trend for the token. And treat branding as an afterthought. I think branding is something super powerful that helps any startup being taken seriously and create a lot of equity right from the start. And so the path to follow and what's working, it's new products with real use cases, but this is hard, like 9 startups out of 10 doesn't reach product market fit. Reward mastery of the protocol, social recognition baked into the strategy, TGE after product market fits, and create iconic brands for compound effect. And this is my one of the last slides. Just to wrap up the talk, so the best practices for 2026 is to think product first, token second. Is to build in your like social strategy or marketing strategy, social recognition over cash. To think retention over acquisition, because as we've seen, like you can have inflated numbers with thousands and thousands of users, but if these users are not real users and they're here for the money, like it's better to have way less users, but users who keep coming to the protocol for good reasons, and to invest in branding. And a few words about what we do at Kurna. So we're a on-chain brand studio. And actually, it's kind of like this whole token thing. I was quite affected being part of StarkNet and seeing that all the effort that I've put in the StarkNet ecosystem were worthless. I think it really got to me. And for me, I would rather prefer having a protocol that puts all his money into products and brands and not on airdrop. And I think this is the way to go. So at Kurna, we'll build brands for on-chain startups. And this helps with 3 things. First, it's for a securing investor conviction. If you had good branding, it's easier to get investors in. It also helps you recruit great talents, and it will also help with users and getting users and turning them into advocates and ambassadors. So these are my contacts, LinkedIn and Telegram. You can scan the QR codes if you want to send me a message. I'll be happy to connect with you guys. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Hey, are there any questions for Leopold?
Thank you. Thanks for the talk. It was really good. I think a lot of people kind of don't talk enough about TGUs now anymore. So thanks for doing that. In your opinion, what is like the most successful token launch, if you haven't already? Like nothing related to you, right? Don't be biased. But in your opinion, what was the most successful launch?
So apart from Hyperliquid, you mean?
Yeah.
For me, I think, but it really depends also on the success of the protocol. Like Morpho, what they did with like, I think they've locked the tokens. They didn't do the airdrop right away, and they waited for 1 year, and then they did the airdrop in like way better conditions. I think that was a smart way to do it. I'm not familiar with like every single mechanism that they've put in place, but from like a token health perspective, I think they did great in that regard.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I think on that also, it's important. Now you cannot have a token if you don't have a burn mechanism, if you don't have a way to reward holders of these tokens. I know like Hyperliquid is doing it, Aave is doing it, I think Uniswap, I think they've implemented it too. So if you want to have a healthy token, you need a burn mechanism or like a fee switch or some way to reward these holders. And actually I've talked with like a few like hedge funds or traders, like they are actually looking now to evaluate tokens who are doing that, and they want to use the TradFi models that they're using and treat them as equity token and see like the PE ratio, you know, these kind of things from TradFi to evaluate the health of a company. So you need that in your token if you want to succeed.
And what's your stance on like AI doing the token launches nowadays versus humans?
Wow. So can you elaborate on the question? Because like AI doing token launches is
Do you still like believe that like the actual mechanics can only be done basically through humans right now, or are you seeing other token launches just using AI agents to do it instead?
personally, I haven't seen any token launch only using AI. I know that there are more and more tools to help with that, but I don't know. For me, it's such a complex topic with like so many parties. You have like content creators, you have marketing, you have partnerships, you have media. Like, I don't see right now an AI agent or multiple AI agents being able to organize that super efficiently for one big day. Maybe on the technical part, like setting up the contract, stuff like that, maybe it could work. But yeah, not sure.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Thank you, guys.